financial advisor who works mostly with retirees or pre-retirees, the subject of Roth conversions comes up a lot. And so I want to make a short video about that and just to talk about some of the pros and cons of that. And so what is a Roth conversion and why does that matter in retirement planning? So a Roth conversion is when you decide to take a portion of your traditional IRA or rollover IRA and convert it to a Roth IRA. And so what that means is that I'll use an example of taking $10,000. I'm going to convert $10,000 from my traditional IRA to my Roth IRA. I will pay tax on that $10,000 right now. And now that's in the Roth IRA, it will grow tax-free forever. And so there's no limit on that. It could grow to infinity. That money is tax-free. And so a lot of people see the benefit of that, down the road in retirement. And so I think that could be important. You think about you retire and you're 60 years old, 65 years old. Think about a couple of decades down the road, and that's been sitting growing tax-free for all that time. That could be a very powerful benefit. So, what is a Roth IRA? And I just want to explain the difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. So, a traditional or rollover IRA, that's what a lot of people have. Maybe they worked for a company for many, many years, and they had a 401k, they rolled it over to an IRA. That money is basically pre-tax. It has not been taxed yet. And so you will pay tax on that money someday when you withdraw that money in retirement. A Roth IRA, on the other hand, it's you probably could maybe funded it through contributions over the years, or maybe did some Roth conversions. That money grows tax-free. So the initial contribution was made with after-tax money, and the growth, like I said, it could grow to infinity. That is tax-free. And so I think some of the benefits of Roth conversions is that giving yourself a little balance in retirement. So I think it's important, maybe to, kind of use an example of buckets. Maybe you have your pre-tax dollars from your traditional IRA. You have maybe an individual or joint brokerage account where you have maybe some investments, or you keep cash, like, for an emergency fund. And you also have a Roth IRA. The traditional IRA, we know that's going to be taxable as ordinary income. Every dollar will be whenever you take it out. A joint account or a brokerage account, at worst you pay some capital gains. Maybe you had to sell an investment to withdraw some money. Let's hope it's long term, maybe greater than 1 year you've held the position, or certainly money markets. Those pay interest, which are taxable to you, but there's not a whole lot of consequence for taking that money out. But a Roth IRA, there is no consequence for taking that out. That is truly tax-free money. So it's definitely to your advantage to try to grow that as long as you can during retirement. And so I think a good example of that would be if you're familiar with the concept of a traditional IRA, you have to take the money out, or you have to start taking it out at age 73 or 75. It used to be 70 and a half. They changed the rules a few years ago with the Secure Act. And so you have to start taking it out at age 73. So that's called a minimum required distribution. So let's say you retired at 65. And you have a window. Maybe you've collected Social Security, maybe you haven't, but you have a window of time before you have to start taking out those minimum required distributions, and that could really bump your taxes up at that time because you have to start taking money out every year from your IRA. So using that window of time to do something like a Roth conversion might be a benefit. And so I'll show you an example of this. I use planning software that I work with my clients. And this is just an illustration of a client who just retired. Let's say they're 65 or 66. And you'll see there, I have a taxes slide that I will show them. Here's the taxes you're likely to pay in retirement based on whatever income you have. Maybe it's Social Security, pension, whatever that is. And you'll see that big spike in a few years. That really means that they have to start taking minimum required distributions out from their IRA. So it's a big difference. You're paying a little bit of tax now for several years, and then in the future, it's really going to bump up dramatically. So we discussed the concept of doing some annual Roth conversions and being very mindful of the tax brackets and things like that. And so this is just a hypothetical showing we're doing some Roth conversions early in retirement. So you see we increase their taxes, quite a bit in these early years, but look what happens. You see that the red is increase in taxes, and then the gray is a reduction in taxes down the road. Because I converted some now, a lot more of my money is in a tax-free position, and so that really lowers the amount of money I have to take out for those minimum required distributions. So it could really be a big benefit. Some of the things you got to consider, before you convert to a Roth. You need to consider your current tax bracket. The conversions are taxable as ordinary income, and then it goes into the Roth. Now it's tax free. Future income. What are your future income needs? If you're planning on converting to a Roth and then taking it out in a short time, you have to know that a Roth conversion, it's got an aging date of 5 years. When you convert it, you need to wait 5 years before it's considered to be tax free. So that's another consideration. What are your retirement goals? If your goal is, let's say you don't have any legacy goals, and I just want to use the money during my retirement, you may be okay with just paying taxes as you go, along the way, just from your traditional IRA. If you had some legacy goals, maybe, hey, it's important to me to leave money behind for my kids or somebody else. That may be an important consideration, because if I'm one of your kids and I inherit a large IRA, I have to start paying tax on that as ordinary income right away. I have to liquidate it over 10 years. So what if I inherit an IRA and I'm in the peak earnings of my lifetime, and now I have extra income I have to pay tax on for 10 years? I mean, that's pretty punitive, or at least it could. Now, it's great to have the money. I'd rather have it than not have it, obviously. But imagine if it was in a Roth IRA. I also have to take it out over 10 years, but that money's tax-free to me. And so that's a huge benefit. And so I've seen some people do Roth conversions now because they're really looking out for their kids. Maybe they're not going to use the money in retirement, and they'd rather put it in a tax-free position for their heirs. And so that's a consideration. So I think one of the strategies for doing Roth conversions is doing gradual conversions. You don't want to just convert everything at once, because it's taxable as ordinary income. And so I have a slide here I did in one of my other videos just looking at the tax brackets. So this is just an example of the married filing jointly tax brackets. And you can see here in this example, in the 22% bracket, their income was $96,000, and so you can see the range for that bracket is $81,000 to $172,000. They have some room to go, and so they would just have to decide, hey, am I willing to pay tax on more income at 22% by doing some Roth conversions, or not? Everybody's got their own preference and willingness to pay taxes. I've seen a lot of situations where maybe you see the bracket down from there, the 12% bracket, that ranges from $19,000 to $81,000. So let's say you just retired. I don't have that paycheck anymore. I really don't have a lot of income. Haven't collected social yet. I don't have to take the RMDs out yet at 73. So that could be a really good window of time to do some Roth conversions, kind of maximize whatever tax bracket you find acceptable to do some conversions in retirement. So that could be a really good opportunity. And you can also redo this every year. Like I analyze tax returns for my clients and produce a tax report like this, and we can kind of track that year over year. Hey, did we fill it up? Did we leave some opportunity on the table? Did we go over and pay a little bit of extra tax we probably didn't want to by doing some extra conversions? So it's something you can check on yourself year over year. The risk of doing a Roth conversion, I think, if the market's really high and you converted money to a Roth, now that money's in your Roth IRA, but the market's down, and I had to pay tax way up here when I did my conversion. Now the value of that is way down here. You might not be very happy about that. You wish you would have converted at maybe a lower level. Obviously implications tax-wise, you really have to consider that. Like we talked about, looking at the tax brackets, it's really important to do that. I think impact on government benefits. Let's say you're retired and you don't have any income because you haven't turned on social yet. Maybe you just have minimal income that you're paying tax on. Social Security may not be taxable to you. There is a threshold where Social Security becomes taxable, like 85% of your benefits become taxable. But if you don't have a lot of income, you may not be paying any tax on Social Security. So if you do some Roth conversions, that could increase your taxes, and that's something to consider. If you're getting a subsidy for like Obamacare in retirement and you haven't reached Medicare age yet, you might be getting a government subsidy because you don't have a lot of income. And so it's important to be aware of what those thresholds are, where that subsidy goes away, and now I have to pay a lot more money for my health care before Medicare kicks in. So it's something to really consider. So, I think the key to all this is working with somebody who knows what the heck they're talking about. Work with an advisor that has experience doing Roth conversions, can really weigh the pros and cons of doing that, and just help you make a good decision. I've met with a lot of clients where we talk about Roth conversions, we end up not doing it because it's not worth the current taxes that we're paying, to get that tax-free benefit down the road. And so in many other cases, I have clients that are accelerating that. They're aggressively converting to a Roth because maybe they're on the younger end of retirement and they see the benefit of tax-free growth for many decades. At least they're hoping for that. And so I think that's something you really need to work with somebody who knows what they're talking about. So I would really encourage you to explore Roth conversions. It can be a really valuable tool in retirement planning. I'm not a tax advisor. I'm a certified financial planner. So we talk about taxes a lot. We do tax planning, but I'm not a tax advisor. You should consult with your CPA before you pull the trigger on something like that. If you got a couple nuggets out of this video, please like my video and please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to be notified about future retirement topics. And my contact information is in the About section of my YouTube channel. And thanks for watching my video.